got some explaining to do, brother.
Oh, do I now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! I'm having a really hard time watching this game right now. This is tough.
What exactly is going on right now?
Uh, I don't know. This team is completely lacking an identity right now. There's just I don't know what's wrong, but they don't look good. I'm going to warn you right now. They're not going to make the playoffs if they're going to keep playing like this. I hate to be. I don't want to put the panic button on, but they got to stop.
You're getting
This is
close to
getting
pushing
too
that
much
button now.
Yeah, right.
So this segment might be a lot hotter with the way that things are going, because we're going to be talking kind of about how the year's been going and how we think it's going to be going moving forward. And when we're watching this game, it just kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it really does now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start off with positive things then. Can you name things that you have liked about the Canucks so far this year?
Yeah, well, I know you're probably thinking overall, but I'm going to pick a couple players here. I'm going to go with, the play of Sherwood and Lankinen.
Mhm.
Those are two absolute huge bright spots that we can be happy about. I know it's hard to be happy right now, but, when you look at something like that, it's like Sherwood, even though he's not producing right now, he's still doing what he was brought in to do and make these big hits and great plays. Lankinen, I don't think there's been a time where I've ever been upset with Lankinen. I don't think there's any way anyone could be. Yes, he did turn it over the other night, but I don't think anyone really cared. It's going to happen. So, but I'm going to say, that those are some bright spots. Connor Garland's been playing fantastic, because I always knew he could, and I really like his drive in his game lately.
Did you think it was possible for Quinn Hughes to be better this year than he was last year?
I did.
Yeah?
I did actually. You know what? Quinn Hughes just seems like one of those guys where I think he's still gonna get better. I really do. I just think he's that good. He just keeps every year he gets a tiny bit better. So I don't know when that's gonna stop. Obviously I'd be okay if he slows down, because he's already met a lot of our expectations now. He's fantastic. So he's the only one out there right now that looks good tonight. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah. I thought for sure that Lekkermacki goal went in.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've been 30 seconds behind all night in chat, it seems like.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, goal, and freaking out. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, there it is. And then I start freaking out.
It's my fault. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I guess the person in the stadium too thought it was a goal, because they had apparently hit the button and all the smoke started pouring out of the scoreboard. So I shouldn't be.
I think we all just really wanted it to be a goal to make us feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, when the Canucks scored that first goal, I genuinely felt happiness, like true happiness and hype. Like, yeah, all right, yeah, let's go. And then a minute later, that just it didn't last long.
Well, I just ended the poll question, and will this be a big PP? And 63% of you were right, because you said no.
Hey, I was one of the optimistic ones that said yes. I was like, you know what? Like, their third power play, the chances are they should score statistically, right? I don't know.
The two things that you hate about the Canucks so far this year. I think this one might be an easier one to answer tonight.
Yeah, well, you know what? The easy answer could be just to say how bad they've been. Like, they've really have been that bad. Like I said, the lack of identity. One thing I did that really has struck me. Oh, there's my cat, everyone.
Oh, there it is. Showing off your
battle.
pussy, cat.
Yeah. All right, you go off now. Just had to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
Where was I? The other big thing that I really dislike this year, that it feels like it kind of started a wave of this badness for the Canucks, I guess you could say, is the whole Miller and Pettersson debate. They just started playing bad, and then all of a sudden that came out, and I just feel like something is really not okay now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really starting to become noticeable on the ice that maybe this is not this could be bigger than what we know it is. That's something I really don't like. I just think that that's never good. You don't want to hear that. It's a huge distraction, and that's bothered me personally.
Yeah, the inconsistency is what's really done it for me, because it's like, even if you look at the last road trip, they went from losing big to a contender in Carolina to beating wannabe team like the Leafs who pretend to be contenders, and then just
Right.
absolutely getting destroyed by the Jets, like bad.
Yeah, that was tough. And like, I don't know if you watched my video, but I didn't make a video on the Toronto game. So like for me, I personally haven't like seen the Canucks win in a long freaking time. That's my biggest regret was not watching that game. Can you freak? Oh.
Oh,
She's all over the place. Well, now I lost my train of thought. That damn thing. I don't. Oh yeah, the Leafs. I just wish I watched that game because I just feel like that would have been a huge boost for me and even my channel because it'd be like, hey, I put something positive out.
yeah.
I gotta make a video tonight. I'm making a video tonight, and it's not gonna be pretty. I'm not.
So what you do here's your idea for your video tonight, Jake. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
okay, tonight, Vancouver Canucks versus LA Kings sucked. So here's the highlights from Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah. Just backtrack. Just be like, you know what? Screw it. It's my channel. I make the rules.
I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that's has surprised you about the Canucks so far this year?
Um, how bad they've been. I think you know what too is I know this shouldn't surprise me, but the injuries have actually really surprised me.
Mhm.
And 'cause it was a lot. Like that was a lot. It was Quinn Hughes. I know Miller wasn't injured. Oh, God damn. Sorry, my cat.
The cat just knocked down your light.
Yeah, she sure did. But yeah, like it's just. But I must say, I don't use that as an excuse. Like
Yeah.
when the Canucks were losing, 'cause I feel like they have a deep enough team that we can't use that as an excuse. Like you can't always rely on the top guys. But I am surprised on like just how much has gone wrong, and they played okay during that time. And what really bothers me now is how they're playing so freaking bad when they get everyone back in the lineup. I don't get it. Like what's going on there?
Well, I mean, you give Hronek a bit of a pass because obviously it
Yeah.
might take him a minute to get back into the swing of things. And like obviously his pinch on the first period was brutal and he couldn't get back in time either. Like he tried to skate, but his legs clearly aren't back yet.
Yeah, it was just it was a 2-on-1. It was one of those like why it's you leave Quinn Hughes all alone. It was at a necessary play to do.
Yeah.
But I agree. I cut him some slack too. He just came back. Like I'm not all over him right now.
I think the thing with me is I think that if the Canucks defense had stayed healthy, I think they would have been okay. It was the fact that they lost Hronek, right? And just threw the entire defensive pairs into chaos. And
It really did, didn't it?
Right? Like when you have Tyler Myers on your top pair and then suddenly you got Juleson as your second pair. Like Juleson's a seventh defenseman on most teams, right? At best.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's playing your
Juleson's
second
really
pair.
disappointed me this year.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of him, but he shouldn't be in the lineup. He did throw everything off.
Does it make you happy that Connor Garland is a +1 right now?
Yeah, it does. And I saw it in chat earlier. So I'd mentioned, Garland, is he a minus, with the 3 goals? And he's not.
No.
Because he's out there working his goddamn butt off every goddamn shift. He's not going to get scored on when he's on the ice.
Connor Garland.
Connor Garland gets it done.
So is there we're gonna put on your prognostication hat. There's my big word for the day. You're gonna be Nostradamus here. What is your prediction for something that will happen this year for the Canucks?
What will happen? There's very clear. There's going to be a trade at some point.
Yeah.
I know they've hinted at it. There was that interview with Rutherford a while back ago now, but he knows the team wasn't ready and it's not complete. I think there's still a big trade coming at some point. I don't know what it will be, especially now with how bad they're playing. I think it's now they got to pull a trigger on something just to switch something up. Are they going to fire the coach? Maybe. Would I like that? Probably not. I don't want to see them cycle through coaches. I don't think that works. I mean, it works to an extent to fire them up. Yeah, whatever. But Dawkins has that good balance of like being a hard guy, but also as a player's coach, and so I don't want to see him go, but something big's gonna happen. It has to happen, right?
So what's one thing that's not going to happen?
The Canucks are not going to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I hate to be that negative, but like, man, like these games they're playing right now, they're playing against playoff teams and getting absolutely destroyed. And I think Dustin said it best earlier. He was like, in the next few games, I hope they just win against Buffalo, for God's sakes, because they're not a playoff team. We know we're not going to win against a playoff team right now. So why would I think the Canucks are going to make the playoffs if they're not going to win against playoff teams? Maybe I'm being a little bit over dramatic, maybe, it's something to start.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's something to start thinking about. Like, man, they don't look good at all.
Well, the thing is that leading up to the Winnipeg game and now the LA game tonight, the one thing I was talking with Dustin and everybody about the Canucks is like, at the end of the day, they aren't winning, but at least defensively, they're looking really good with a bunch of AHLers essentially playing back there. So the system was working. They weren't managing to score a lot of goals, but it's not like they were ending up getting blown out on a game to game basis, right? They were staying in these games. But now, the last two games, they're like, hey, we heard your commentary, Russ. Screw you. We're going to play bad defensively now, right? Like, it literally feels like every time you're like, okay, the Canucks are going to do this or the Canucks are going to do that, they do something in the middle or completely opposite out of left field that you would never expect. And that, I think it's the year of chaos. Like, I think that's the only way to describe it is complete anarchy and chaos.
Yeah, it is an absolutely chaotic year. That's a great way to explain it because it's just don't know what's gonna happen. Like honestly, even against Winnipeg the other night, I had no idea what. I either thought it was going to be a really good game or it was just going to go horrendously bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, it went horrendously bad, but I don't know what to expect. Even tonight against LA, I'm like, they could win, right? Like like it's and they still could, but not likely. I hope they prove me wrong. I never know what to expect when this team plays.
The thing I keep on going back into my head is the 1992-93. Was it? No. Yeah, the 92-93 Canucks. One of the best teams in the league. Won their division, 105 points. Really, really good. Bounced in the first round of the playoffs. 93-94 Canucks. Third in their division, didn't play very well. 85 points. Went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. So it's about when you're hot and when you're playing well at the end of the day. Because if you're playing really, really well at the beginning of the year, it doesn't matter once playoffs roll around, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping is now, for the first time this entire year, the entire team is healthy except for Dakota Joshua. This is now the time where they need to start putting things together and make a push for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and maybe that's where they're at. Maybe they're just kind of shocked that everyone's ready now, and now the chemistry's actually off because they're not used to everyone being in the lineup.
Yeah.
So you make a good point. Maybe in a week's time from now, we'll be laughing at this and they're rolling again. You never know.
If there's any kind of like changes to the lineup that you could make right now with the without making a trade, like is there anything that you would change about the way that they have the line set up tonight, or like the D pairs, or is there anything that you would change from going into the third period?
Lines have been all over the place. So yeah, I don't really know what Talkett's obviously he's just trying to figure something out. I don't know what I would do. You know what I really wish is if Joshua was back, put that line back together with Bluger and Garland, because they didn't really test that out this year because he was out at the beginning and then they found other line mates that worked, blah blah blah. I feel like that would be a nice boost right now. Would be that line to be like, hey, that like the Canucks fans love that line, the lifeline. Like I love that line. That was a great line to watch. They need some kind of boost or something with that. But obviously that can't happen. I'm talking about things that can't happen right now because Joshua's out. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Without making a trade, I have no idea what they should do right now. I don't.
Do the Canucks have a chance in the third period? Can you give me some glimmer of hope, Jake?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say they have had glimmers of hope in this game. So they're what is it? 4-1, right? 4-1. Oh, easy. Come on. Yeah, they'll be just fine. You know what? If they get a couple goals at the beginning, if they get a couple goals at the beginning, I'm not going to count them out. Okay. I want to be hopeful too.
So, Jake, before I let you go, before the third period gets started here, can you just give the people who are in chat, the people who are watching, can you give them an idea of why they should be tuning into @JakesTakes Hockey on YouTube?
Oh, he's the best. He's the best YouTuber of all time.
Yeah.
Is what they're saying. Yeah, it's that's what they say.
I
Yeah,
said that too.
yeah, yeah. No, I follow pretty much every Canucks game. I try to make a nice quick snippet of it, something to watch when you go to bed later, or just having a nightcap. Something to laugh at, something to enjoy. So, yeah, yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up for me there.
Yeah, I do enjoy. I watch all your videos. I make sure I like and I comment and all that stuff because it's like I think me and you have talked about this a little bit. There's so many people out there who do these, these reviews of the games, and it's all the same. It's all the same analysis. It's all kind of very Sportsnet, and I'm not looking for Sportsnet on YouTube. I'm looking for Jake's Takes Hockey on YouTube, and that's where I found you.
That's right. Yeah. No, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that.
Awesome, Jake. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the game, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
I'll do my best. I'll be in chat trying to keep things up. Something, I'll be bugging you guys.
Have a good night, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Nothing is perfect.